taking you with me, there's some rules you gotta follow. Rule 1, you don't bring up Tess, ever.
You don't bring up Tess. Ever.
Matter of fact, we can just keep our histories to ourselves.
Matter of fact, we just keep our histories to ourselves.
Rule 2, you don't tell anyone about your condition. They see that bite mark, they won't think it through, they'll just shoot you.
Secondly, don't tell anybody about your condition. They think you're crazy, they'll try to kill you.
Rule 3, you do what I say when I say it.
And lastly, you do what I say when I say it.
We clear?
Yes.
Repeat it.
What you say goes.
Oh, Nelly. I know all those that love to run around and talk woke this and woke that was last night having nightmares, twisting and turning in their bed over this episode 3, season 1, Last of Us. I enjoyed the episode, but I know those didn't, because secrets was not only revealed about Bill and people that Joel and Ellie might see throughout this journey, but also secrets was revealed about those survivalist-ass Republican gun-loving folks, and we're going to talk about that right now. I'm going to enjoy this. If you're finding me for the first time, please subscribe to the channel. Be sure to turn on those notifications so when I drop videos, you get them. Be sure to download the Life Gains podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Let's go. This episode was more so all about Bill, who was in the video game, and they deviated from him a little bit. I showed you guys a little bit of the comparison of Bill from the video game versus what they did to him on HBO. And I got to give HBO a big shout out for having the guts to put this on TV and highlight a lot of things that we already knew and show people some of the things and the relationships that Ellie and Joel are going to see as they go on this journey. They're going to encounter people that have had relationships and love and different things like that, having to live within the infection. But we start this episode out with Joel and Ellie en route to Bill, and we learn how the military would round folks up and just kill the ones that they couldn't pick up. You know, just bam, shoot them dead because they believe that those folks couldn't turn. Then we immediately jump right on into Bill, ladies and gentlemen. We jump into Bill, and we start with Bill in 2003 when everything first happened. He was down there in a basement in a basement. They couldn't find his ass because he was in a basement that he had built. He's one of these redneck survivalist conservative Republicans, a house full of damn guns. He's got survivalist food. He's probably got a bunch of gold, but you know, like my favorite financial person says, Clark Howard, if we ever get to a point in life where we're living the survivalist lifestyle, what the hell is having physical gold going to do for you? Absolutely nothing. But maybe in this case it would, because you could exchange that gold with other people. So maybe Clark is wrong. But we see a grizzled and isolationist Bill who doesn't want to have anything to do with people. He surrounds himself by nothing but steel and a great, great bunker. He's got cameras up. He's got guns for days. He's got generator. He's got all the amenities you need to survive in a situation like this. But he doesn't care for other people. He doesn't really have a heart. Okay. And as the story goes, he winds up meeting Frank, who is the bleeding heart liberal, and winds up not being the man on the bottom, but the man on the top. And he's trying to get to Boston, but gets caught in one of Bill's traps. They meet each other. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? The deep secret some of these Republicans keeps to themselves because they hate gays so much is revealed. They hate them so much because they love them. Bill decides, because of the generosity and the kindness and everything he's seen, Frank decides he likes Bill. He tests out Bill to see if Bill is down with, you know, little boy on boy action. And guess what? I guess Bill, after all these years, he used to be down for women. He decides, you know what, man, fuck this. I'm tired of my Peter not getting wet. I'm about to get some. And they often say a lot of dudes who go to jail over the years wind up breaking down and going gay. And that's what happened to Bill right here. He falls for Frank. They have a love affair. And the grizzled toughness we saw in Bill, Frank is able to leverage that and mellow it out a little bit. And then some of that bleeding heart liberal that's in Frank, Bill is able to mellow that out a little bit. And over the course of their love story, they encounter many things, and they go through a journey in which Frank finally gets tired of being so alone, and they radio out to Tess and Joel, and they invite Tess and Joel over. And what do we see happen? A friendship forms, where it's kind of like Joel and Bill get along because they both have this kind of protector mentality, kind of the Republican mentality. And then we see Frank and Tess get along very, very well. Some might say Frank would be the girl in this relationship. Him and Tess get along, kind of the bleeding heart liberals. And through it all, that's the only friendships they have that come and go on this ranch. And in the end, Joel winds up warning Bill that there are some raiders coming through and be prepared. And those raiders wind up coming through, but they cannot get through Bill's traps. And you got to admit, man, if you're going to be in a situation like this, you definitely want Bill to be the one designing your camp and protecting it, because his traps kept their asses out. But what I wanted to know was, Bill, why the hell is you standing out in the blind open taking bullets? Come on, bro. You're supposed to be smarter than that. At least duck behind the cover or something and return fire, but not be standing out in the middle of the damn street taking bullets. Bill gets shot, and we think that he might die, but then they time jump, ladies and gentlemen. And I do enjoy the time jumps they're doing in this story, so we can see how these different people behaved as the infection took place. And they time jump, and we later on see Bill survived, and Frank is now got some kind of issue with his legs, and he's having to get day-to-day care from Bill. And they've been together 16 long, loving years, protecting themselves from everybody. No one has been able to breach this damn compound that they have. And at this point, ladies and gentlemen, Frank is just tired of living a life where someone's got to take care of him. He decided, you know what, it's time for me to call this life thing a career, and I'm going to kick this bucket, and I want Bill to put the pills in me via the wine, but I want us to have one last day where we get married, we have dinner the way we had it the first time, you give me that same meal you cooked when I first met you, and they do. The difference is this time, instead of Bill sitting at the end of the table, he's sitting right beside Frank, while Frank sits at the head of the table. Bill does it, and Bill says, you know what, bro? I have nothing else to live for. My life was protecting you, loving you. If you're going to die, I'm going to die. And so Bill and Frank have their last meal. Bill takes the pills. They go upstairs for one more smash, and they die. And that's when Joel and Ellie pop in on the scene. Ellie's reading the love note that Bill left, basically leaving, this was Bill's will. And in this will, he left everything to Joel so that Joel could protect Tess. This was a heavy emotional episode. I know it rubbed some people the wrong way, but this is life nowadays in terms of we're trying to be inclusionary to everyone. And I'm glad HBO had the guts to take this story on. But it also reminded Joel of his relationship with Tess, and it made him have to think that, you know what, Tess is gone now, and the person I'm going to have to take protection onto is Ellie. And so they wind up hopping on in the truck that was gifted down to Joel. He gets Ellie and all the supplies they need, and boom, they're up and out of there, ladies and gentlemen. Wow. So they just basically, HBO just gave you a highlight of what's going to be happening in the future. All these different camps are going to have people that probably have love lives, have tried to adapt to this infection in their own way. And we're going to see Joel finally meet his brother. And I wonder what kind of way has his brother had to adapt. And there's going to be some other people that these two are going to have to meet. But at the end of the day, Joel wants Ellie to keep her secret a secret. Don't let nobody know what you can do, because they will certainly try to use you as a pawn. And who knows, man, they might even try to strip your blood and do some testing on their own. So ladies and gentlemen, please post me all your comments on how you felt about this episode. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe. I will be going live Tuesday night at 9 p.m. to discuss this show and this episode with Lex the Targaryen. Come check me out. Be sure to download the podcast. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And until that next Sex is Hell video, I'll see you.